Hello and welcome to the June 29th edition of Speedway Digest, Thursday Night Thunder, the most hardcore motorsports program on the internet. This is episode 256 of the series. I'm your host, Adam Jason Sinclair, and tonight on the program, we'll be talking about a little NASCAR, maybe a little IndyCar, whatever other motorsports prompts the conversation. Probably some Formula One, too. Tonight's guest is Jordan Wisely, the American reality TV star and social media personality who has conquered physical challenges to excel in reality TV and the demanding world of professional car racing. Wisely's journey is a powerful testament to the indomitable human spirit, proving that obstacles don't define one's potential. From reality TV stardom to the racetracks, he's risen to the top and showcased his unwavering determination. Beyond his reality TV triumphs, Wisely's dedication extends to triathlons, demonstrating his passion for pushing boundaries and inspiring others to enhance and embrace their challenges.
Wisely has been expanding his horizons by establishing his production company Strapped Media, while also making waves in the racing film Helmet, which is set to premiere at the prestigious Dances with Films Hollywood.
We're waiting Mr. Wisely to join the program. He should be on any moment now. But while we're waiting, we have to, of course, send our condolences to Jimmy Johnson and his family. That was a horrible tragedy that happened the other day. There's still some news coming out about it, and it's kind of difficult to imagine the situation that would drive people to do that. But as I stated, we have all of our hearts and prayers are with the Johnson family in this very difficult time. I know it's going to put a shadow over the top of the NASCAR race this weekend, and we'll discuss the NASCAR race in Chicago a little bit more later on in the program. It is rather unfortunate that the Johnson family has to deal with their loss at this time, but hopefully they're able to heal and move on from it. It's just a really bad deal. As I stated, we're waiting for Jordan Wisely to join us. He's slated to be on any moment now. And we're going to go ahead and have a good discussion with him about his production company and how he's excelled in racing as well as reality TV. I don't really know a lot about Jordan Wisely, but I think it'd be an interesting person to talk to. And it should be a pretty cool discussion about his new racing film, Helmet. So it'll be interesting. As I stated, NASCAR is going to be in Chicago this weekend. Should be a great racing in Chicago. Both the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series are competing on the streets of Chicago, Illinois. This is the first street course they've had in a long time. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. And I've got a bunch of great stuff going on tonight. In fact, is a party at Navy Pier in Chicago. So any of my Chicago, Illinois listeners, get ready for a great party there with Bubba Wallace on Navy Pier. I wrote a little bit about that on Speedway Digest the other day, so be sure to check that out. Should be a really cool event. I know they've got a lot of interesting stuff going on. There's also been some stuff that's been moved around, partly because of the Jimmy Johnson tragedy there with his in-laws. So I know that there were some things slated to roll out in Chicago that have been pushed back, some of that related to sponsor commitments and that sort of thing. Which isn't a good thing necessarily, but it gives me a little bit more time to research it, and that's always good. So that's one of the things I haven't had lately is a lot of time. It seems like every time I try and get some stuff organized, I just run out of time for it. I'd like to apologize to the people at Insta360. I'm supposed to be reviewing their new camera, the X3. It's a great, interesting little camera, kind of cool. But I have not had time to publish a review online. It's going to be published on SpeedwayDigest.com as it goes online. I'm expecting that to probably be this weekend. I don't know if it'll be Saturday or Sunday. Might even be like Monday or Tuesday, because I know I don't have a lot of stuff planned during the day on Tuesday. But it should be a good review of that. It'll also not only be highlighting the Insta360 X3, but also a little bit about the GoPro, and maybe even a little bit about my full-size camera. So be sure to look out for that. That'll be in the featured news section of SpeedwayDigest.com. So while we're standing by for Mr. Wisely, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the holiday weekend. It's going to be on July 4th weekend. As I stated, NASCAR has their huge event there in Chicago, celebrating the Independence Day weekend there in Chicago. They used to have the big event in Daytona. I was lucky enough to attend the firecracker race there. Later become the Coke Zero 400, Pepsi 400, all those different 400s they had in Daytona over the years. So that was kind of cool. I hope they have a really good turnout in Chicago. I hope it ends up being a really amazing race, and I hope they go there for a few years. I don't know how long it's going to be. I know that they've had some issues with the government there in Chicago, not necessarily being the most helpful or the most productive. Because Chicago, of course, is a city that's in flux, always in flux, politically wise. They've got a new mayor in town there, and I don't think the new mayor has NASCAR on his mind. You never know. So it'll be cool. I know that this past weekend, of course, they had the Formula E race in Portland, which was really, really cool. I got to watch a little bit of that, mostly the pre-race stuff, so that was neat to see that. And it was fun. Did you get a chance to see it at the Formula E event from Portland? I know that's not that far from you out there.
No, I didn't. I honestly completely forgot. Yeah, I don't know. But was it good? What you seen? Was it good?
It was. It was really, really interesting. The cars are new. They're a lot more high tech now. They're a lot more fan friendly. It looks like there's not a lot of people hanging out around the paddock for that race, but that's just the nature of the thing. And it was kind of cool to see the cars. It was kind of cool to see the drivers. Drivers are having a really good time in Portland, so that was cool. It's one of the first permanent courses they've been on. Most of the time in Formula E, they've raced on street courses. But this is one of the first permanent road courses they actually competed on, and it looked really, really good. I know that the next event there for Formula E will be 1 year from today, on June 29th, 2024. The Formula E series will be taken to the track in Portland once again. I'm kind of thinking about going out there. It really has to be the sort of thing where I can work out a deal with the Formula E series, possibly get some free tickets to that. I had an issue getting that for New York, but you never know. There's always different people for Formula E as well, but we'll see how that goes. But it would be kind of cool to hang out in Portland for a few days and watch the racing. I know that since the Portland National Raceway is on the Max line, it has an exit right there at the park, and they also have lots of other stuff around there that you can wander around and see. As I say, Portland is a very walkable city, though you have to keep your head on a swivel, as it were, because Portland is definitely a lot different than it used to be. But it's pretty neat, and I'd like to go and see how the Formula E race goes for a second year in a row. Really, really cool. Amazing vehicles, amazing drivers, and if they get a little bit more support from the city than what they got this past time, although they had quite a bit of support, you could tell, then it'll be a really, really good event. The manufacturers seemed to love it. All the owners were really happy, and as I say, it looked like the drivers were really happy too. As I said, we're still standing by for Jordan Wisely to join us. I did have him fully confirmed. Talked to his PR people today a couple times, and unfortunately he is not here yet, but hopefully he'll be here shortly. Let me go ahead and run a quick little check here and see if I can find out where exactly he is. Let's see. So the perils of running a live show, sometimes you have people whose schedules don't exactly line up as well as you'd think they would, even though they're supposed to be here. But hopefully he's here momentarily. If not, we'll go ahead and move on a little bit further in the program here. Let's see. Nope. No information from him or his PR people as of yet. So, let's see what we're doing here. We will go ahead and come back to Mr. Wisely once he does join us, but let's go ahead and move on a little bit further in the script. Let's go ahead and ask our question of the day, which is, of course, the same question we ask most of the time. Are you a race car driver, crew chief, pit member, track owner? Maybe you're just a huge fan of the sport. Contact us to get your spot on the show. After all, you deserve your 15 minutes of fame, and we'd love to hear from you.
July 4th is forever etched into the history books as the date on which the United States declared independence from Great Britain in 1776. The 247 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence have seen countless great American sports moments, including some that fell on the anniversary of the nation's birth. Richard Petty narrowly edged Cale Yarborough at Daytona's Firecracker 400 to pick up his milestone 200th victory, which turned out to be the last one of the King's legendary career. The final 2 laps of the 160-lap race took place under caution, so the mad dash to the finish line actually took place on lap 158. July 4th, 1984 was a memorable day not only for one of NASCAR's legends, but for the sport itself, as Ronald Reagan became the first president to attend a NASCAR race and personally congratulated Petty on his thrilling victory.
I actually remember a little bit about watching that race, not very much. It was kind of cool. Both Petty and Reagan were interesting characters. They brought a lot to the country, and they brought a lot to the sport, of course. NASCAR's a better thing because both of them were fans of the racing. Petty's still around, as you know. His role at the team, at the Legacy Motor Club thing was a little bit less than it used to be, but it's kind of interesting. And I know he'll be in Chicago. He'll be a major force there because Jimmy Johnson will not be there. But it'll be cool to see how that goes. I hope Petty does really well this weekend. I hope the team does well, and hope they have a great time. What's your 4th of July plan this year? I know it happens on Tuesday, so that kind of throws a little bit of a monkey wrench into things. But what are you planning on doing for the 4th of July this year?
Well, like 2 towns over, there's usually a pretty cool firework display that they put on, and I always say that I want to catch it every year, and then I never do, and I think this year I'm actually going to catch it.
There you go. Awesome. Yeah, it should be a good year. It should be probably to the 4th on Flagler is what it's called. It's and it takes place on Flagler, in Flagler Drive in downtown West Palm Beach. They've got the largest fireworks display in South Florida there. It takes place at 9 p.m. on Tuesday night. So if you're a local, head out to 4th on Flagler. Of course, if you're local, you already know about that. But there's also some fireworks around Lake Worth that are pretty cool. Although last year the fireworks basically didn't happen at Lake Worth on Lake Worth Beach on the 4th of July. So I'd kind of be a little reticent about that again this year. When I was younger, I used to go to Lantana. The fireworks there on the beach were awesome, really, really awesome. So there's a lot of different options to have here in South Florida. It's a great thing. Honestly, the past few years, it's either been really, really hot or really, really rainy or both. So we haven't really seen many fireworks. We've seen them on the way home. But should be a good year this year. We'll see. Like I said, Tuesday is a little weird because I do have to work on Monday, at least one job on Monday afternoon. So we'll see how it goes. Tuesday I'm off. Tuesday I might go to the movies. You never know. See something interesting. But it should be cool. Also probably going to catch a little bit of the NASCAR event from Chicago, probably on Saturday and Sunday. Possibly. I know there's also a lot of other racing going on. Not everything competes this weekend, but there's a lot of racing going on around the country, and I'm trying to get a little bit of that. So it should be fun. As I say, 4th of July traditionally was raced in Daytona, so kind of missed that. That was really, really cool to go up there for that. But Chicago is interesting too. It should be fun. Did you get a chance to see any of the Pikes Peak Hill Climb thing? I know they had that exclusively on YouTube, and Mobile One was advertising the heck out of that this past weekend.
I didn't, but that sounds really interesting. I know they had, I think it was like last weekend, but they had like a big mudding event out at the like local sand dunes, and they brought out like a lot of their big trucks, and that's kind of cool. But I don't know about climbing. I don't know. Would you ever climb a hill in a big truck?
Probably not, especially considering it looked like it was a little cold there. And if you go offline, you're probably driving in the snow. And I have about one small, teeny fingernails experience driving in snow, and that's just was really, really light snow. Not even covering the road at all. It was just falling from the sky, which was interesting. But for a person from South Florida who's generally accustomed to driving in a lot better conditions than snow, the worst conditions we drive in is really heavy rain. I've done that several times. It's not very much fun. But so, but I think the Pikes Peak Hill Climb is an interesting event because of the fact that they have all the different sorts of cars. They have the trucks. They have rally cars. They have collector cars that do it. But a lot of the machines are race prep things. They just some of them just look a little weird. And they do have the best drivers in the world to go out there and try and compete there for time. So that'd be another thing that'd be kind of interesting to see at one point. But it's not really in the cards right now, but it is kind of something to think about for the future. Once again, we're still standing by for Mr. Jordan Wisely. I've been working on trying to get him on the program for some time, and this was the one night when he had availability, and apparently either his time is off or he had something else pop up. We'll figure that out shortly. But hopefully we get to talk to him in the future. I don't know if we're going to have a show next week. As of right now, I'm kind of leaning towards no, but we probably will. Because I've got a lot of people on the list who are interested in being on. And we keep getting more and more and more and more, so that's kind of cool. I will go ahead and throw it out there now. I'm working on a celebrity interview that would be cool to have on the show. I have not heard back about it yet, but it is a person who's interested not only in motorsports, but has a long history in Hollywood. They've been in amazing productions, first-class productions, that if you know anything about the movie history of Astoria, Oregon, or of anything about the Little Green Men, then you probably know who I'm trying to get on the show. But it'll be interesting to see if he actually gets on the program. I did run a piece about his upcoming tour for Borplum's Fantastic Finds. So be sure to check that out, and you'll get an idea of who I'm trying to get on this program. I'm not going to tell you right now, but go to forborplumsfantasticfinds.wordpress.com. Find the most famous-looking person you've got that's on there. It's one of the most recent articles, and you'll have an idea who we're going to have on the program sometime in the near future. Fingers crossed. But I'm also working with other people in the motorsports community. I've got a lot of great contacts out there who are trying to schedule for the program. Some of it doesn't work out, some of it does. We do have a lot of amazing people who are working on trying to get on here. And as I stated in the past, we seem to be doing something right because we keep being picked up by more and more streaming services. So if you're listening to us right now on iHeartRadio or on Odyssey Network, I thank you very much for doing so, and hope you're enjoying the show. I do apologize for the fact that we don't have our guest on tonight, but there's nothing I can do about that. So we're working on it. We're trying to figure out something in the future. I think I might also reach out to someone like Jason Pribble, who is a guy who's been really, really good on this program. I've talked to him a couple times. I'd love to have him back on again. He's now racing in the Formula cars again after being in Spec Miata and having a little bit of a Formula car thing last year that just didn't work out for him. So we'll see if we can get him back on the show. He's a fun guy to talk to. I know he has a long career ahead of him. We're also going to try and get some other people who have been on the program before in the past. So it should be pretty fun. And some new people as well. We might even try and get Tim Despain from the Pit Stop with Tim Despain back on the show again, because I know he has a lot of free time now since he just recently celebrated his retirement. So we'll see if we can get him back on the program, probably to talk a little bit more about the racing there in Talladega at the short track as well as at the Super Speedway, and see what his plan is for the future. I know you mentioned you're trying to get a few people on the show as well. Can you give us any hints as to how that's going, or if the if we should expect any major exciting announcements on your end in the future.
Well, I've got quite a list of people that I'm trying, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think they're exciting people, but I can't really give you too much more information because I don't know if they'll ever message me back.
Well, that's kind of the issue too, because sometimes the people seem really, really interested in coming on the show. Sometimes I talk to them in advance. Sometimes it's right down to the end, and then all of a sudden they're not here. And I think that's not just a problem we have to deal with here, but that's a problem that the bigger people have to deal with on their shows as well. What they have that we don't have, A, is a budget, and B, a larger things to pull from where they can replay other interviews and that sort of thing. That's one of the things. One of the downfalls about Podbean is you can't really replay past interviews. On Blog Talk Radio, I was able to do that for a few people and just sort of fill in. But here, I can't, and that gets a little old after a little while. But again, we have some people we're trying to reach out to. I might even try and reach out to Dakota Dickerson again. Dakota was a really good guy on this program before. Heck, I could try and reach out to Tristan Nunez, but Nunez, he just hasn't gotten back to me as much as he used to in the past, and I understand that. But hopefully we can get somebody else on here about that, because I want to ask them questions about the future of IMSA. There's some great stuff going on in IMSA, and there's a lot of interesting things going on there. One of the major announcements the other day was the fact that Corvette's going to be racing in Europe. They've got a new deal with the Proton Racing, which would be cool to have them involved with the Corvette program. In addition, Ferrari is rumored to be coming to the United States again in the GTP category. They were supposed to be here. I know I read that they were supposed to be here for Watkins Glen, for the 6 hours of Glen this past weekend. That didn't happen. But they're definitely trying to push for the Petit Le Mans at Road Atlanta, which is in a few more months. I think it's in October. So they're pushing for that. I know they're going to try and be competing at the 24 Hours of Daytona, which I'm really, really looking forward to. We decided not to go there this year, because of some issues and the fact that it just seemed like it was going to be another a really sold out event, and sometimes that's not as much fun. A really, really busy event, and the fact that weather there has been just so atrocious in January, it's so cold and rainy. But it's time to go back there again next year and take our chances with the cold, take our chances with the crowds. I do have my room set up again, so we're not going to be staying there all night or anything. But I'm looking forward to the 24 Hours of Daytona. I do have my truck now, so there's always the chance I can get a really good parking spot and sort of roll out a mattress or whatever and hang out there for a while. We've talked about that. If I can get a really good deal on parking, like one of those infield spots that are right against the fence, that'd be awesome. Awesome. So if anyone like any of the Vicky Miller's fans have a lead on that, let me know. I know we tried to get Vicky on the show recently, and it just didn't work out because she couldn't get connected with her phone, and that happens. But looking forward to that. We're going to another race again. We're going to be going to the SRO race in September. That's in Sebring. That'll be awesome. Did you see any of the? Did you read the article about the SRO race there in Fuji, where the person who finished in first place crossed the finish line in 14th? That was pretty weird.
No, well, that sounds really interesting.
And they had a caution, and it's sort of like a virtual safety car, like Formula One does sometimes. And they advised the drivers to go down pit road to avoid debris. The first car to go down pit road to avoid debris was the one that crossed and was in 14th place. And the 15th place car, and there, and a couple others. But most of the field decided that they weren't going to go down pit road. They were going to try and maneuver around the front straight. And the Fanatec GT series did not appreciate that and made sure that they knew that they were going to end up way back in the field. So sometimes it pays to be running in 14th place.
Yeah, sometimes. And sometimes I guess you should just listen.
Yep. It was Fanatec's an amazing series. The GT cars are really, really cool. I don't know if they go out to the West Coast. I know in the past they've competed there in Portland as well. Plus they competed in California a little bit. But that was the series last year. I got the chance to ride in the pace car around Sebring. And it's another time I wish I had the Insta 360 X3 camera, because that would have been awesome to have that and record it as we're going around the field. But I don't know as many people in the Fanatec garage now as I did before, because their PR people have shifted again, and some of their drivers have shifted a little bit. But it's still a really cool thing to see, and the sports cars there are pretty cool. There's no prototypes, of course, but there are all the GT cars, GT3, GT4, and that sort of thing. So it'll be interesting to see the guys in Sebring. I know you were planning on going out to the Wenatchee Valley Super Oval this past week. Did you get a chance to do that?
No, the car that my husband's been helping with ended up not making it, and it was North American Big Rigs, and they're cool and all, but I just, they're just not really my thing personally, so I really wanted to watch that car that my husband's been helping with. So we opted to take the boat out instead, but I'm a little picky, but they just, I don't know, and it's like everyone around here loves the super late models and pro late models, and I mean they're cool and all, and they're fast and stuff, but I don't know, I really just like the little V6 cars and stuff. I don't know.
You should get involved in boat racing. You can do that in the those really insane boats that they race in the coast of Washington. Some of those really weird looking tracks. That's what you need.
Yeah, I don't remember what those dang boats are called, but could you imagine driving one of those?
There you go. It's a team competition. You got the driver and the navigator. Your husband gives you sitting in the front and going around all the corners. There you go.
Yeah, he kind of drives like that anyway, so I guess I would already be.
There you go. Well, it looks like Jordan Wisely will not be joining us this evening because he hasn't called in yet. Of course, I say that, and he'll be calling in any moment now. But looks like he's not going to be here. We will try and reschedule him, but we'll reach out to his people again tomorrow and see if we can get that organized. As I stated, I'm not sure if we're going to have a show that next week. I'm kind of leaning towards no, but there's always a shot. It depends on who I can get scheduled the next few days. And I will go ahead and post on the Facebook page and, of course, let all you guys know when I know. But for now, since it is a holiday weekend and our guest decided he didn't feel like showing up this evening, let's go ahead and close out the show, and we'll get back to it again either next week or the following week. Be sure to check out past episodes of Thursday Night Thunder, as well as the other shows on the Speedway Digest Radio Network at speedwaydigest.podbean.com. You can also check out the show on Facebook by searching for Speedway Digest Thursday Night Thunder in the search bar. And as I stated before, as I was a little bit surprised, but not totally, you can search for Speedway Digest Radio Network in your favorite podcast or streaming service. I was able to find it both on iHeartRadio and the Odyssey Network recently, so be sure to check that out. I also invite you to read the articles covering all aspects of motorsports at speedwaydigest.com. I do have a lot of articles backed up in my inbox now that I'm going to be posting in the next few days. More than likely it'll be Saturday, it could be Sunday. So a lot of stuff about the Chicago race, which I might try and do tomorrow. Really depends on how it goes. Tomorrow afternoon, late afternoon. I do have some stuff about Hooters and their Chase Elliott sponsorship and some of the events I've got going on there in Chicago. I did try and reach out to the Hooters guy to have him on today. Unfortunately, I was not able to. But Hooters does have a special going on this weekend through July 2nd, which is it's Sunday, where you can go and order the Chase Elliott chicken tenders. I believe you order that on the app. You can search for that online and see where you can find the Chase Elliott chicken tenders. You can order those and you're entered to win a fire suit, an official Hooters fire suit. So be sure to check that out as well. Seems like kind of a cool contest. There's a bunch of other contests going on related to the 4th of July and related to the Chicago race. Be sure to check those out. Some of them are written about on SpeedwayDigest.com. Some of you have to look up. But as I find them, I will go ahead and post about them. In addition, if you're a fan of South Florida, and who isn't, be sure to check out the latest news and information about our slice of paradise at my blog site, Football Fantastic Finds. It can be found on Facebook as well, on Twitter at FootballPlums, FABORPLUMBS, and by heading to FootballPlumsFantasticFinds.wordpress.com. Got a bunch of amazing stuff going on there as well. Plus, I'm going to be covering some comic conventions upcoming. Probably doing a little bit of a piece on the Florida SuperCon. That's what's going on this weekend. I believe it starts tomorrow, runs through Sunday at the Miami Beach Convention Center. I'll probably just run a basic overview of that. I might do a more in-depth event guide, but it depends on whether I actually have a chance to get down there this weekend or not. I have been granted media access, which is really, really cool. But we'll see about that. I also have another comic convention, the UltraCon of South Florida, coming up in August. I believe the 25th of August is when we're heading out to that. That'll be at the South Florida Fairgrounds, a lot closer to the house. And they've got a bunch of cool people, including Martin Kleba, who you might recognize the name. He's played Marty in Pirates of the Caribbean. He also had some roles in some of the Jurassic World movies, only there he played a dinosaur because he was one of the guys that did the motion capture and stuff on. So that's kind of awesome. I'm looking forward to meeting him.
Thank you for listening, and we look forward to seeing you again, maybe next week, but at least the week after, in the Thunderdome as we discuss the major issues in the world of modern auto racing.
Have a great holiday, and thank you for listening.